A girl brandishing a rifle is seen approaching a store. When Cassie hears someone calling for assistance, she rushes into the abandoned and demolished market and takes everything in sight. The girl checks out in the back. A man brandishes a gun at her as she walks into the room. They both want the other to put down their gun. He asks her to do it after he completes it. She motions for him to move the hand that is concealed beneath his jacket. The man informs her that he has injuries. The girl notices something when he moves his hand, and believing it to be a weapon, she shoots him. In his hand was a crucifix. We see her at a party with her friends in a flashback. She discusses her crush with her friend. Cassie spots her crush, Ben, as she leaves the party. They converse for a short while. When Cassie gets home, she bids her brother Sam adieu and checks in with her father Oliver. Cassie has soccer practice the following day. Their teacher interrupts her friend as she tries to show her something odd on her phone. Cassie suddenly notices that everyone is using their phones because a significant event is occurring. Cassie's family later watches a news report about an enigmatic UFO. After Sam bolts from the house, the others chase after him, only to be startled by the sight of the UFO hovering over them. The aliens made no attempt at communication during the first 10 days. The following day at Cassie's school, she notices that people from her neighborhood are starting to leave the cities. Devices of all kinds abruptly stop functioning. The students in the classroom see a pileup on the road in front of the school and hear a crash outside. Additionally, a plane is seen tumbling out of the sky, smashing into some of the cars close to the school. This was a response to the first wave of the electromagnetic pulse that the aliens had set off, which was intended to destroy all power. Cassie's father picks her up from school later. Taking one look at Ben, she believes this is the last time she will see him. A little while later, as Cassie and Sam are getting water, the second wave strikes with the force of an earthquake. A huge wave breaks out behind them, and they flee from the falling trees. By scaling a nearby tree, Cassie is able to get both Sam and herself to safety. Unlike the cities near the ocean, they were the fortunate ones. Every island and every coastal city had been totally destroyed by tsunamis. The third wave, which devastated the human population after the second, was a modified bird flu that the aliens had brought back to Earth. When Cassie gets there, her school has been transformed into an extra medical facility. As she approaches her friend to say hello, Cassie's mother shows up and informs her that her friend is under quarantine. She forces her to go home after donning a mask. Cassie later attends her mother's funeral, who passed away from the flu, along with the rest of her family. After a while, Cassie is preparing to leave by packing her essentials. While their father packs the final items they'll need, she ties Sam's shoes. After leaving the house, the three of them set out to travel to a camp for refugees. One of the camp's key figures welcomes them when they arrive before dusk. Oliver separates Cassie from the others that evening and points a gun at her. He tells her when and how to use it. Oliver informs her that she needs to conceal it from other people and wear it all the time. Oliver informs Cassie that nothing is safe anymore, even though she felt safe there. Cassie accepts this. Everyone hears an odd racket later on, and they see a cloud of dust moving toward the camp. Abruptly, school buses and army tanks emerge from the cloud and park in the middle of the area. Colonel Vosh says he is from an army base and is here to assist, along with his men. The adults and children are separated by the army officers. The kids board the buses, while the adults head to the mess hall for a briefing. Oliver receives the same information while he walks toward the bus with his children. Vosh breaks off his argument with the officer and explains the circumstances of their split. He explains that the army has made getting the children back to safety their top priority because the camp is in danger and they have limited transportation. Oliver forces Cassie and Sam to agree after deciding to pay attention to the colonel. In addition to telling her to look after her brother, he promises to arrive at the base shortly. After the kids get inside, Sam realizes he forgot his teddy bear. Cassie has to go get it because she can't convince him to get off the bus without it, so she forces him to stay on it. Cassie goes into the sleeping quarters, but before she knows it, she hears the buses pulling out. She takes off in their direction, but she never makes it to the moving bus. Vosh tells the adults that the army thinks the fourth wave has started in the interim. The extraterrestrials have descended from their spacecraft and are circulating among humanity, capable of assuming the form of human hosts and exerting control over them. Vosh tells the frightened campers that while they can identify the aliens in children, they are still unable to identify them in adults. When everyone inquires about their kids, the Colonel replies that since there is no way to tell humans from aliens, their kids will be housed in a different facility. Oliver motions for Cassie to hide and not enter the mess hall when she shows up outside. The soldiers are suddenly provoked by a man who demands to be let outside, and shooting breaks out. Running into the woods is Cassie. The soldiers depart the mess hall a little while later, with no civilians present. When Cassie returns, she takes Sam's teddy bear with her. Oliver is among the others who have died when she enters the chaos. Cassie runs back into the woods with a rifle in her hands before she disappears. The kids show up at the base later. They are given numbers as they exit the bus and instructed to wait. Ben's number is called first. They've led him inside the building. Sergeant Resnick is questioning him while an army doctor examines him. He informs her that during the earlier waves his family perished. Resnick tells him he's fortunate to have the ability to exact revenge on them. He will assist in the battle against the aliens, just like the other children. She gives him a tracker shot in the neck. Ben queries how, if they don't know what the aliens are, they can fight them. Resnick takes him into a different room to show him how they can identify them. She gives him a special visor so he can see the alien after showing him a boy who is wired up. It's a parasite that infects and subjugates humans. The only way to eradicate the parasite is to kill the host, because no extraction technique is effective. She gives the boy a switch that will kill him. Ben errs but kills him in the end. Resnick urges him to continue the battle. Cassie is surviving alone at the same time. She runs away into the woods because she doesn't think she can trust anyone. Finding her younger brother at the base is her primary goal. She runs out of water when she finally reaches the store where we first saw her after a long journey. Cassie sleeps with her brother's bear that night. She arrives at a highway brimming with abandoned cars the following day. She discovers dead bodies strewn among the cars and knows they were recently killed. Cassie is shot in the thigh as soon as she spots an alien drone. After briefly hiding beneath a truck, she chooses to shoot her way out of the predicament after thinking of her brother. Sadly, she faints. Vosh is getting the kids ready for the impending alien combat in the meantime. He informs them that a fifth wave, or final assault, is being planned. Humanity will perish in that wave. Since Cassie has every right to be suspicious, he's at a loss. Evan informs her that the hunter is extraterrestrial and that he uses alien drones to track down victims. They discuss her going to the base to pick up her brother, but Evan speculates that he may already be dead. When Cassie disagrees, she threatens to go get him. Evan assures her he will accompany her as he follows her into her room. Though he is unable to guarantee what they will discover at the base, he promises to get her there. Ben moves nearer to Ringier in the interim. She informs him that she was prepared for the end of the world because, in contrast to him, she had to take care of herself before the aliens arrived. Prior to being pulled into the school bus, Ringier was doing okay. She is corrected by Ben, who says they were saved. They were drafted, she claims. Ben promises her that she will teach him and the rest of the squad how to shoot if he can take her down. The two of them spar together. She accepts and dispatches him with ease. She unfortunately becomes a little too confident, and he tackles her second. Ringier is there instructing her squad on shooting techniques. She offers some advice and encourages them to give it another go. As Resnick arrives, he informs Ben that the colonel is hoping to see him. She leads the boy to a war room. Vosh gives him a call and tells him that multiple cities are being attacked at the same time. The invasion's fifth wave has started. He gives him a better, more portable version of the visor they had in medical school, which allowed them to see the aliens fighting on the front lines. Evan assists Cassie in dressing her wound in the interim. She thanks him and gives him a kiss. The squad was boarding a helicopter early in the morning to head to the testing site. When Ringier inquires about Sam's whereabouts, Ben replies that he has food poisoning, but that he actually restrained the young child in the restroom. He has also left his locket with Sam. When the squad gets there, one of the officers asks Ben what their mission is. He claims that their mission is to destroy the enemy by infiltrating their nest. She reminds them that when they're done, they should signal for extraction, because the visors light up green for aliens. As they enter enemy territory, the helicopter drops them off and takes off. One of the kids spots two aliens directly ahead, so Ben rallies his group of friends to move forward. They open fire on them before the squad can move. When they find themselves in a precarious situation, Ben advises them to flee and seek safety in a bus as they hide in an alley. Ben shuts the doors after he and Ringer enter last. More enemy fire is directed at them, and one of them is shot. When Ringer realizes they can't stay, he diverts the enemy's attention until the others can reach a different ally. Ben signals to the others to prepare for his call and run. The bus that Ringer rigged explodes behind them as they flee, following her shout for them to do so. After clearing out the abandoned mall, the squad makes themselves comfortable. As soon as Ringer arrives, she expresses her suspicion that something is wrong with the aliens. How can they create earthquakes and still fear an army of kids, she wonders. Ringer takes out her tracker after deciding to flee the army. When she does, the others panic, reading her on their visors as an alien. Until Ben realizes what is going on, they are at a loss for what to do. The others also perceive him as extraterrestrial when he pulls out his tracker. Ben asserts that neither he nor the individuals who had been firing at them earlier are aliens. Vosh and Resnick had lied to them. He claims that the trackers and visors were fake and that the color green actually means human. He clarifies that the army is actually the aliens. Ben informs them that they are the fifth wave. Only Ben will return to the base in an attempt to save Sam. As Evan exits the truck, one of them shoots at him after telling him he has left his drone sector. When Cassie wakes up, he tells her to run and finds Eva fighting with the two men. Evan collapses next to the truck, and Cassie pulls out the gun and starts searching for ammunition. When she notices something odd, she escapes for a little while until one of the men pursuing her catches up with her outside the truck. Evan saves Cassie after she pulls the trigger. He uses amazing force to battle the man, ultimately killing him. When Cassie senses that something is wrong, she pulls a gun and threatens him. Evan informs her that he is an alien sleeper agent who was developed long before the invasion began and that he is also human. The alien part of him awoke when the ship entered orbit. When Cassie asks him if he killed his family, Evan responds that the illness was to blame. He tells her that he fell in love with her and rediscovered his humanity. Having previously followed Cassie, Ben killed the other hunter who had shot her in order to save her. Because of her, he now firmly believes in love. When he tells her the truth about the army, Cassie gets ready to shoot him. Evan tells her not to bring any weapons with her because they will kill her as she leaves. Cassie threatens to kill him if he follows her. Ben, meanwhile, returns to the base via a chopper. She subsequently pretends to fall in front of a school bus, and they accept her. Resnick calls her number and treats her the same way back at the base. She strikes Resnick over the head while demonstrating the alien to Cassie. After a protracted struggle, Cassie kills her and takes the tracker away. After taking off her clothes, she searches the base for her brother. Colonel Vosh and Ben are having a briefing, but Ben is aware of the boys' activities. Ben responds that he knows who they are. Vosh confronts him with another truth about humans after claiming that humans had nothing to do with what had happened to them other than to take up a space that they required. In particular, we have been mistreating people for centuries. Abruptly, an officer enters and informs them that Resnick and the 3 guards at the west gate have been slain. There's a loud explosion coming from the base. Vosh gives the order to mobilize the child army. After taking off his tracker, Ben kills the soldier holding him and fights back. Another explosion occurs as Cassie is sprinting through the hallways. Vosh gives the order to send in drones to monitor the area in order to identify any attackers. Cassie immediately disarms Ben after running into him. They acknowledge one another, and she informs him that she is trying to find Sam. Ben informs her that her brother is being sent into combat by the alien army. He threatens to disappear if they don't get to him quickly. Because of her trust in him, Cassie goes in search of him. When Evan arrives, 2 soldiers stop them and render them unconscious. Evan assures them that he planted the bombs and will destroy the base permanently after the last of the planes carrying the children departs. He apologizes for lying to Cassie and claims that she was the reason he decided to embrace his human side. In order to find Sam before Evan blows up the base, Ben and Cassie rush. When they reach the transport lines, they discover that every child is present. When Cassie does see Sam and manages to get to him, Cassie gives Ben his teddy bear and he leads them to an escape door. They flee as Ben pulls out his tracker. Vosh is evacuating the base concurrently. He jumps in the helicopter and chases after Ben and the others when he spots them running, but he is unable to kill them in time to prevent the base from blowing up. They are saved when Ringer and the rest of Ben's team unexpectedly show up in an army truck. Cassie considers Evan as she observes the base blow up. The team has since set up somewhere to eat and rest. Ben asks Cassie what they should do in their conversation. She says they must save the other children, but she is still unsure of how. Ben advises her to worry about it the following day. They join the squad and wish for a better day in the future.